India, the country which is the seventh largest in the world, constitutes of thousands of cities, towns and villages. The beauty of this subcontinent is that, in spite of consisting of absolutely different landscapes, topography, water bodies, climate, it still feels that somewhere something is still very similar. When we tried to understand what actually India is, we were confused if it came down to only the 29 states and 7 union territories, or was it much more than that? How is it possible to homogenize the population of even one state? After all, it consists of multiple cities, towns and villages within it. Hence, rather than taking the top-down approach, we chose to look at it bottom-up. The fundamental unit of a country is its people. So, rather than taking the definitions of the place as given in the history books or documentary films, we chose to let the people living there talk about their own cities. Thus, the project Qissa-E-Sheher evolved, where the local people of the cities told the narrative of their place. The narrative of Goa in our minds was this fun-loving, party-going kind, where people went to chill. But it had very different stories to tell us. What would be the perspective of a native Catholic Goan man who is more than 60 years old? Was it just the party place for him, or were there signs of his association with the freedom struggle of Goa in the 1960s?
See, for the last 60 years, ever since Goa was liberated, there has been a very huge change, both in the culture and in the social life of the people. And it is still changing. A few remnant is left of the old culture, and that is visible in the remote areas, not along the coastal belt or in the towns, but the old culture is still there. Remnant of that is still there in the remote villages from here.
Would a person from Karnataka who had been living in Goa for the last 30 years and have his own family based on this new place consider himself to be an integral part of Goa, or does he still consider himself to be an outsider?
देखो, अब मुझे गोवा और कर्नाटक से कुछ फर्क नहीं है। अच्छा, मैं कभी फर्क नहीं समझा। मैं जैसा गांव में था वैसा इधर भी है। मेरे साथ बदलाव नहीं हुआ।
A little boy who was born in Imphal and spent his entire childhood in a house that is more than 300 years old, would he forget the essence of the place after spending more than 40 years of his life in the United Kingdoms? What is it that pulled him back to his place, leaving his family back at UK? What does this place mean for him?
I can develop the next 10, 15 years doing service to the state and to our local here, and establish something tangible which I would feel as I would have achieved in the next, I don't know, in the next 10 years or so. And those would be what I would call my commitment socially to our local society in here. I knew that I had to come back here at some point, but it wasn't a case of not knowing about it. I've always realized I would have to come back here.
The Munnar rickshaw driver feels Ooty is not as beautiful as Munnar, his own place. What made him say so? How does his little village and the wildlife around it make it so significant for him to say that his place is the most beautiful amongst all?
Tree cutting means this tree named Grandis. This tree eucalyptus now. Actually this tree, three variety. One variety eucalyptus, another one Grandis. This is red gum. This tree. All on one family. But this is more than drinking water. This tree. Then total climate change.
A project that essentially records how people associate themselves with the place where they have grown up in, or how the history of a place evolves with the perspective of the person who is talking about it, started with the target of covering the nation in its entirety. Thus, the narrative came from the north, south, east, west, northeast, and central India and covered more than 10 states. Each city, town, and village had its own story to tell, and multiple voices eager to share them with us. The most interesting part of the narratives were that we could see a same city in multiple colors and angles. The moment the speaker changed, the meaning of the city changed as well, providing us with a completely different side of it.